At the base of the great monolith stood High Marshal Dreed, and with him also was his chosen that was before him. Cain reported to the High Marshal and let him know about the failure of retrieving the seat of power. We have failed you, my lord. We were not able to retrieve the chair. However, the second part of your plan was a success. Soon we will have our spy within the loyalist camp, and we will know everything that they plan to do. The High Marshal was not happy knowing that the seat was lost. However, he was pleased to know that their spy was now in the midst of the imperial camp, and that he would also know every move that they were about to make. Excellent. We will still have our opportunity to retrieve the chair at our convenience. In the meanwhile, we need to pursue the key of Nurgle. Have you heard anything from our spy? Cain replied and said, my lord, at this moment, we are aware that there are at least 2 other Space Marine chapters that are in the area at this moment. Bilal, the Death Company, is here, as well as the Great Wolf himself, Logan Grimnar. Logan Grimnar, an old nemesis, is here. I'm sure he's the one leading this charge. We will have to think long and hard. He is a crafty one. But I am sure that we will find a way around even his brilliance. Be gone, find out more, and find out where the Loyalist's next move will be. With that, the chosen nod, and they soon depart. The High Marshal then turns towards the monolith, and there he makes contact with the demonic presence within the warp. My lord, the High Marshal of Dreed bends on a knee and begins to address the Urutu. My lords, we have not been able to secure the seat of corn, but we do have a presence within the Imperial side, and that our convenient little spy is feeding us information. And we will soon know all of their plans. The Urutu heard this and replied, go, find out where the key of Nurgle is and bring it back to us. Do not fail us, Dreed. Octavius Dreed hears the command from the Urutu, nods his head, and begins to depart. But before he's able to leave, the Urutu tells him, we will be back in touch with you very shortly to tell you further of the plans that we wish you to accomplish. Be ready at our beck and call. The High Marshal understands his orders, nods, and then departs. On the other side of the great monolith, the great traveler and herald of Nurgle himself, Typhus, sat at the war table with his fellow brother, known as the Urutu, or the Death Circle. Also at the table stood the commander of the Second Great Company, Commander Grugor, the Third Great Company, Magatus, the Fourth Great Company, Mammon, and his herald, Bevon, the Fifth Great Company, Kugoth, the Sixth Great Company, Gluttonous, And the seventh great company belongs to Globulus. As they convened, Typhus began to speak. So, my brethren, you have heard that our spokesman, the High Marshal Dreed, has put plans in action, and we now have eyes and ears in the Imperial fortress. And the seat of power is still located there. We must retrieve this. We had promised this to the mighty Lord Angron, and we will do as we have said we will do. And also we need to retrieve the key of Nurgle. At this moment, we still need to find out its exact location. But fear not, the Imperial side will actually tell us where it's at. So they will do their job, do our job for us. And once we find out, we will crush them at that moment. Commander Grugor wanted to be in on the action, and he wanted to assist immediately. But Lord Typhus told him to hold on at this moment. His assistance will be needed in the near future. Magatus, at this moment, his forces were greatly depleted. The cultists that he had worked so hard to build had died out. But he was rest assured by Lord Typhus that they would be replenished soon enough, and that he would be sent to another world to also harvest more souls. Magatus nodded, but he also knew that he may be used if there was a direct attack on the Imperial fortress. Mammon, on the other hand, was going to be needed at the moment, and Typhus let him know so. I want you to send your herald forward and start to unleash plague bearers and to help assist the High Marshal Dreed. Mammon agrees, nods, and points and sends his servant Bivin to go help the High Marshal Dreed into helping to retrieve the key of Nurgle. Kugoth, sitting and listening to as the meeting is convening, understands that his role as a siege master would be greatly needed if there's going to be a direct assault on the Imperial force. So he bides his time and waits until he is needed. Gluttonous had already had forces, all the Chaos Marines with the Mark of Nurgle that are presently on Prime, and was also smiling deeply. He was able to retrieve from his hated foes, the Ultramarines, their gene seed, and now is going to use it to harvest even more souls to make his company grow even larger. He smiled deeply as he digested another soul. Gluttonous then looked towards his other brother, Globulus, who was sitting there in his usual evil grin. He knew he would soon be used to help wipe out the loyalists once and for all. After all, he had the most diverse company, and to wipe out his hated foes, the Space Marines, was his greatest pleasure. Typhus understood all of his brothers and understood their deepest desires, but he also knew that they would put their desires on hold to achieve the ultimate goal, which is to retrieve the key of Nurgle and the Sea of Corn. So, my brothers, I think we have decided on what the next plans will be. We'll also be preparing to have an all-out invasion of Vesper Prime. We haven't done this in a long time, my brothers. On an actual hunt, we get to hunt our foes down to the last man. I am personally going to blockade Vesper Prime to make sure the seat does not leave. Mammon, you will send your forces forth, and you will find that key. And after we have actually obtained the key, we're going to assault the Imperial fortress itself. And we're going to bring the full strength of the Legion upon it, and we're going to crush our foes. Just think, brothers, we can get rid of some of our most hated foes, the Space Wolves, the Deathwing, part of the Dark Angels, and the Ultramarines, we can wipe out 3 of our hated enemies in one fell swoop. Go now. Send your loyal servant Bivon forward, and let's execute our plan. The rest of the Utro agrees, nods, and Bivon is sent to do his master's bidding.